So tomorrow marks 9 years since a powerful EF5 tornado ripped through the town of Parkersburg. It's one of the most memorable storms in Iowa history. Tonight, Weather First Chief Meteorologist Swails tells us the story of another historic tornado that hit eastern Iowa in 1974, and a story you'll only see on Fox 28 News.
Well, eastern Iowa has a long, storied history of destructive tornadoes, and they usually happen in the spring. But there is one exceptional storm that hit Ryan in Delaware County more than 30 years ago, and it's a storm that has never been duplicated.
The guys that blew the whistle probably saved, don't know how many. I've talked to a lot of people, and they heard the siren and they went to the basement.
It was a muggy August 12th day in 1974 when a rare F4 tornado slammed through the small farming community of Ryan, Iowa. With winds over 160 miles per hour, the tornado left the town of 350 people shaken and shocked. And for good reason. Tornadoes of this magnitude almost never occur in the month of August. In fact, there have been only 15 tornadoes in U.S. history during the month of August that have reached this magnitude. That puts it in a very special class. This is Cooper's Place. It's the heart and soul of Ryan, Iowa. You want to know anything about this town, especially the tornado of 1974, this is where you go. Brian Oberruder was just a kid when the tornado struck his family's farm. It was a little after 4 in the afternoon when he and his dad saw a line of ominous clouds churning on the horizon. Brian raced inside and grabbed his brand new Kodak 110 camera. These are the only known photos of the tornado taken that day.
I really don't know why I got the camera.
Yeah. You must have felt it was...
There was something interesting there.
Well,
yeah, I mean...
The thing about it, you know, you got to realize this is 4:20 in the afternoon, and it's dark.
One of the special features of Brian's pictures were the multiple vortexes rotating within the tornado. Scientists had long surmised that the strongest tornadoes had these individual circulations embedded within the storm. These miniature tornadoes inside the funnel were responsible for localized but intense areas of destruction. At the time, it was rare to find pictures showing this phenomenon, which today is a well-known aspect of powerful tornadoes. Vince Wood was working that day at the lumber yard in town. He didn't realize a serious storm was approaching, but when he heard the sirens blaring, Vince was out the door.
We're shingling up here in this other town building. Anyway, they blew the siren, they saw it, and they blew the siren, and me being a fireman, I jumped in my van. I could see the swirls on the north side of it. I didn't slow down. The tornado was just multiple. It was just going just like this.
Churning.
Yeah. And it just pulverized that ground. Huh. Up, I don't know how high that would have been, you know, 300-400 feet, yeah. But there was a piece of steel up there, a red piece of steel, and it was just floating on the top, just like a feather.
After the tornado blasted through, Vince raced back to the lumberyard to check on a co-worker who had stayed behind.
This is a picture of the lumberyard, you know, looking south here. And if you can look close here, this is where the car was that Ivan crawled underneath. And you can see the wheels there, and it's flipped up sideways. And all this debris here is what we pulled off the top of him.
The southern half of town was a wasteland. Houses reduced to rubble, foundations laid bare to the heavens. Some of the contents from homes were found as far away as Galena, Illinois. The school was destroyed, the Catholic church gutted. But amazingly, flowers from a recent wedding sat untouched on the church's altar. If there's one iconic image of the Ryan tornado, it's the Catholic church which was destroyed by the storm. What's left of the church is essentially the bell you see hanging behind me. It continues to ring here in Ryan to this very day. After the tornado, the cleanup was long and exhausting, but as small Iowa towns do, they worked hand in hand to restore their community.
It's just like when President Kennedy got shot, or this, or for the more current people, 9/11. You remember exactly what you were doing that day, where you were. You know, it's just a thing in your life.
It will never be forgotten, and fortunately there are people like Vince and Brian who have made it possible for this chapter in Ryan's history to be preserved for generations to come.
So chronologically, you were at home.
And in the more than 40 years since that Ryan tornado, there's never been a single storm that's come close to rivaling that particular one, which occurred again in August of 1974. And tonight, we're happy to report no storms in our forecast. We're actually starting to clear out the clouds, and that means a much better day for us tomorrow. We'll be back to talk about that and the holiday weekend forecast right after this.
Here's a live look tonight at Collins and Council in Cedar Rapids. You can see the sun just setting there, and it looks like a really beautiful picture out there. We're checking in with Weather First Chief Meteorologist Terry Swails to see what it feels like out there.
Well, it's a little cool for my taste, but at least you can see those breaks in the clouds off to the west. We're going to get some nice sunshine in here tomorrow afternoon. And again, the days are long this time of year. As you can see, it's still light out here after 9 o'clock at night, and the sun is pretty strong. And I think that's going to allow the temperatures to heat up nicely back into the low 70s tomorrow afternoon. But as we take a look outside now, you can see the temperature was 56 degrees, and the radar isn't showing anything on it. This is all just ground clutter and some of the various radar sites. The last of the showers have pushed out of southeastern Iowa, and we're going to keep it dry now for what looks to be at least a couple of days. Here's your satellite, and notice the breaks in the clouds. That's some of the clearing that's going to be in here later tonight and into tomorrow morning. But with the clearing skies and the light winds, there's enough low-level moisture around that as we get some cooling, there could be some scattered areas of fog, something we'll have to watch for later on tonight. But the rain is well to the east of us, and with this storm moving southeast, it'll be out of our hair for at least a couple of days. Temperatures, though, continue to be pretty cool for this time of year, and with the clearing skies, it looks like a lot of places tonight will get back in the 40s for low temperatures, maybe even some low 40s up in our northern counties, and those temperatures there would be about 10 degrees below what's typical at this time of year. But your corridor commute tomorrow morning then should see at least partly sunny skies, maybe some areas of fog though to watch in a few spots. Temperatures expected to be right around 45 to 47 degrees as we kick off the day. So we're looking for that clearing to get in here later on tonight. That'll bring some sun back to the area for Thursday and Friday. That combined with dry weather should make for some pretty decent conditions. But the holiday weekend comes in here, and there are some trouble spots that we're trying to iron out here. One is the potential for some rain on Saturday afternoon. One of our models shows a lot of it, the other doesn't have any. It's all down in Missouri, but I think probably we'll stay more on the drier end of things. That's what we're hoping anyway. So we'll still throw in a chance for some scattered showers Saturday and a temperature of about 73. Then on Sunday, that's the day to make your plans. From the looks of things, it appears dry, temperatures around 72. And then Monday, to close out the holiday weekend, Memorial Day itself, there is another chance for showers, mostly during the late afternoon or early evening hours, and the high temperature about 5 degrees below normal, but still up there at around 70 degrees. Now, as we take you to our water vapor loop tonight, there's some thunderstorms roaming the east coast, and on the back side of that storm, a great big trough resides over the Midwest, and in the middle of that, we've got a lot of cool air, and that's what we'll have to deal with here the rest of tonight and into tomorrow morning. Then we get on the back side of it, should see a little warm up, and then the next disturbance comes on in, and that's the one that could bring some showers as early as Saturday. But hopefully the main thrust of that stays just to the south of us. We'll know a lot more on that as we get towards tomorrow afternoon and Friday's forecast. Meantime, on the predictor here tonight, you can see we're already showing some breaks in the clouds at midnight, and finally by the time we get to tomorrow morning, might be a little fog trying to show up on the model here, but if that does develop, it would burn off in the morning hours, and by afternoon you can see the sunshine that we're expecting to enjoy, and with the winds starting to turn into a more southeasterly direction later in the day, that will also start to warm up the temperatures as well. In the north, we're expecting lows to be in that range of 43 to 46 degrees tonight, so it will be cool when you get up, and there could be some patchy fog around, especially if we get that clearing as expected. In the south then, a little fog here, temperatures right around 44 to 46 on the lows, winds light from the north-northeast, and in the north tomorrow, finally, some 70s back on the board. It's been a while. We'll have south winds and skies becoming mostly sunny. And in the south, any fog here would burn off early. And after that, we should get into the sun in the afternoon. And about 72 expected in Cedar Rapids, 74 in Tama and Iowa City. And down south in Washington, you too have a pretty good chance of reaching 74. And your extended forecast has that rain threat then for Saturday, and mainly in the late afternoon or evening hours. Sunday, I'm thinking dry and 72. Monday, a 40% chance of rain in the afternoon, so 70 on Memorial Day itself, and then another pretty good surge of cool air, dropping temperatures back into the 60s next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Next on the Fox 28 News at 9, taking some heat off commuters in the corridor. How leaders plan to make Interstate 380 a smoother drive for thousands every day when the Fox 28 News at 9 returns.
Listen throughout the day for your Weather First forecast on 104.5 KDAT when you're away from your TV.
Both the Department of Justice and the White House had today as a deadline, May 24th, to turn over the Comey memos from the Department of Justice that he is expected to have kept about some of his discussions with President Trump, and also for the White House to turn over any tapes or audio recordings they may have of conversations that the president had with or about FBI or former FBI Director James Comey. Both of those institutions asked for more time. They were supposed to give those over to the Senate Judiciary Committee, led by Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. So now the next step could be something like subpoenas or holding those bodies in congressional contempt until that information is turned over. Kelly?
The corridor's busiest roadway is getting more congested by the day, and the Iowa Department of Transportation is now turning to you for a better idea on how to deal with it. Fox 28 News anchor Matt Hamill joins us now to explain how they plan to ease the burden on I-380.
Yeah, Kelly, more congested means more dangerous. The IDOT already knows that it's going to have to widen Interstate 380 to 6 lanes between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. What it wants to know from drivers is what happens after that.
We all know the speed, the crashes, the bumper-to-bumper white-knuckle drive on 380.
This corridor is nationally identified as a automated vehicle corridor.
IDOT planner Kathy Cutler says she wants your input on the future corridor commute, when most of the cars and trucks could be self-driving. If light rail or trolleys could take you from Cedar Rapids to Iowa City on the Krandick line, would you be willing to get on board?
Maybe this next generation isn't as into owning their own car. They're more amenable to getting on a bus or a train and commuting down and being on their phone or doing whatever during that commute.
We hope we launched the future last October when we started 2 new modes of commuter transportation.
Doug Elliott with the East Central Iowa Council on Government says Corridor Rides is rolling now. Van pooling and carpooling started 7 months ago. And while changing our one-person, one-car habit is tough, vans are available for commuters to save money and time.
We're all so easily connected to the World Wide Web that 20-minute commute where you're not driving is time that you can spend more productively. And we hope to capitalize on facts like that.
It could mean a safer, less frustrating Interstate 380 is just down the road.
Time is money, whether it's your time commuting or freight time on trucks. So we really want to make it a very efficient corridor.
The first real test of the response from commuters will come next year when express buses begin running between Iowa City and Cedar Rapids. In the meantime, the DOT wants to know what you think. We will put a link to all of that information on our website. Covering the corridor tonight in Cedar Rapids, Matt Hamill, Fox 28 News.
Next on the Fox 28 News at 9, it's not the Fall Classic, but the Kings of the Metro were crowned in Cedar Rapids. Highlights from the Metro Baseball Tournament when the Fox 28 News at 9 returns.
The Hawkeye baseball team roared into Bloomington feeling confident for tonight's Big Ten tournament opener against Maryland. But they'll actually have to wait another day to play. The Hawks and Terps game moved Thursday afternoon at 12:30. Winner moves on to play Nebraska Friday. Loser turns around and plays Purdue at 4 o'clock. It's all come down to this in the Metro Baseball Tournament. 2 teams, 1 trophy, and a game under the lights at the Vet. Linn-Mar taking on Washington for all the marbles, and the Lions roared out of the gates. 3rd inning, Josh Gassman bloops one down the line to help out his cause, and just like that, it's 3-0 Linn-Mar. The next batter is Ryan Lechner, and he adds to the lead. Lechner splits the diamond. Lions go up 4, and they'd hold on. Linn-Mar takes the Metro title 4-3, the final. Down on the farm, Colonels continue their series with the Lumber Kings. Fast forward to the 6th, it's 1-0 Clinton. Nick Zamorali hits a sky-high fly ball to left center. The Colonels catch it for the out, but the Lumber Kings work the sac fly to perfection, and it's 2-0 Clinton. Then in the bottom of the inning, the Colonels get those 2 runs back. Aaron Whitefield goes the other way and barely sneaks it inside the foul line. 2 runs come home to score, but Clinton would get the win, 3-2 the final. In his 3rd year leading the Cyclones, Steve Prohm is stepping into new territory in Ames. There's not a core group of seniors coming back to Iowa State to lean the clothes on the hardwood. Gone are the Monte Morrises, the Naz Mitrulongs, and the Georgian Yangs of the great Cyclone teams. So the challenge for Prohm this summer isn't necessarily X's and O's, but it's building a team that understands what it takes to play Iowa State basketball.
We need the next wave of the Montes, the Nazes, the Melvins, the Georges, the Matts. We need all the next generation to come through, and we've got to bring them in here and get the next train, rolling through here, and to carry on the banner and the tradition of Iowa State basketball that has been so good over the last several years.
This might help the program. Steve Prohm made it official Wednesday. Michael Jacobson is transferring to Iowa State. Jacobson comes to Ames from Nebraska, where he played 2 years for the Huskers. The Waukee native will have 2 years of eligibility at ISU after he sits out this season. The road to the state tournament starts now for the Xavier boys soccer team. 2 wins and the Saints march back to Des Moines for the 16th time in the last 17 seasons. Up first for Xavier, Mid-Prairie in the sub-state semifinal. Less than 2 minutes into the match, Luke DeBall gets loose and gets it past the keeper, putting the Saints up 1-0. And they were far from done in this one. Minutes later, Saints get it into the box, and Tyler Steffensmeyer gets his noggin on it. Xavier moves on to the sub-state finals with an 8-1 win. They'll face Mount Pleasant on Saturday. Winner heads to state. And every time I show soccer highlights, I think about the timing that it takes to hit it with your head into the goal.
It's so true.
Yeah.
That takes some serious skills.
I can't do it. Maybe Swails can.
Maybe
he seems like an athlete.
Just ahead on the Fox 28 News at 9.
Well, I'm not going to go there, Zach. It'd be easy to attack you on that one, but instead we'll focus on the weather tonight, and what I'm seeing is some better things as far as we're concerned. Skies are clearing to the west, winds will turn to the south. That means some warmer temperatures for us. We'll tell you if that lasts into the holiday weekend right after this.
Here's a live look tonight at First Avenue in Cedar Rapids. It's the Skywalk we're looking at right there. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Terry Swails as our radar looks pretty clear right now, Terry.
It is, and I'm happy to say should stay that way for a couple of days around eastern Iowa. What you're looking at here, these little green specks, essentially just some ground clutter. So there's nothing as far as rain is concerned, and certainly nothing expected the rest of tonight. Our storm system that's been impacting us the past couple of days, finally spinning its way into the eastern United States. The next one, fast on its heels, is way up here in southwestern Canada. So between the two, we're going to have a little ridging or high pressure. Winds also starting to turn back to the south. And tomorrow, that'll get us some sunshine, and it will definitely warm the temperatures. But this next system here, once it does dig in, will bring some reinforcing cool air back to the Midwest, especially late in the holiday weekend and towards the middle portions of next week. And overall, the weather pattern is definitely looking on the cool side as we go through the next couple of weeks. But tomorrow morning, definitely a chilly start to the day. Readings will be back in the mid-40s out there. Skies, though, should be partly sunny. Here and there, some patchy fog will be a possibility, but by later in the day, we'll burn that off and warm the temperatures. Now here's our 14-day outlook, and we talked about that cool stretch of weather. Here's normal at 74, and by the time we get to June 7th, normal is 78 degrees. And you got to go all the way to June 7th, according to the charts I'm seeing tonight, to find a temperature that's going to be above normal. So a lot of temperatures here in the 60s and low 70s at this time of year. Typical highs somewhere around 75 degrees. We do have some cool weather ahead of us here, but nothing unbearably bad, that's for sure. And here's your extended forecast, and you can see we're at 72 Thursday, just a very slight chance of a shower around on Friday. I think 30% might even be overblown. But the chances for showers do go up a little bit on Saturday later on in the day. So we're into the holiday weekend here, and by Sunday I'd say that's the day to make your plans outside. Don't have any rain there, and 72 for a temperature. Later in the day on Memorial Day itself, another chance for some rain moving back, and then after that we talked about that next round of cool air, and you can certainly see it has an impact with temperatures down around 65 for the high on Tuesday and 67 on Wednesday, well below the normals, which by then should be getting back into the middle 70s.
Weather First Team coverage continues now with